Dear students, in our previous classes, we have learned about Indian economy primary sector. Under that chapter, we have completed a unit called Green Revolution. So today, let us move on in the same chapter to a new heading. Clear what we have as food security in India. First of all, it is very important for us to know meaning of the term food security and the definitions of food security. In fact, food security can be simply defined as availability, accessibility, and affordability of food to all people and at all times. So here, these three terms have to be kept in mind: availability, accessibility, and affordability of food to all people at all times. In fact, below this, you find three definitions which are given by international agencies like United Nations, World Development Report, and Food and Agricultural Organization. So, all these three definitions, in fact, give the same old meaning and the stress on availability, accessibility, and affordability. Out of these three definitions, it is very important to know any one, clear, along with a simple definition. First of all, observe the very first one. In 1975, the United Nations viewed the notion here, the term notion stands for concept, notion of food security as the availability at all times of adequate food supply of basic foodstuffs. Here, UN stresses on availability, that is supply, of adequate supply. When I say adequate, sufficient foodstuffs, that to basic foodstuffs. Whereas World Development Report, or shortly what I have written here as WDR, this defined, in fact, World Bank, actually, World Bank submits its report, prepares a report called World Development Report, and in its report in 1986, it has defined food security as access by all people at all times to enough food for an active and healthy life. In 1983, Food and Agricultural Organization has defined food security as ensuring that all people at all times have both physical and economic access to basic food they need. So, out of these three definitions, any one definition you must learn. And along with this, the first point, what it has been written in bold letters: focus, learn. You may expect what is food security, define food security for 2 marks. So simply understand three terms: availability, accessibility, and affordability of food to all people and at all times. Focus on the meaning and one definition you learn. Let us move on to the next slide. Here, dimensions of food security is there. We need to know clear the dimensions of food security. See, so far we have learned those three terms: availability, accessibility, and affordability. Along with this, clear one more term: sustainable, has been given. Let us focus and learn this. Food security has mainly three dimensions plus the first next one, sustainable. What are those three? First, adequate physical availability of foodstuff. When I say availability, it is the physical availability in the sense that the required foodstuff in required quantities, it should be available. That's what it means. Second, adequate accessibility of foodstuff to the people. Here, there's a spell error. Here, to the people. It is not top. To the people. In the sense that affordability of food stuff to the people. When I say affordable, the prices of those food grains should be reachable to the poor. In the sense that it should be affordable. Then, next and the last, availability of food stuff has to be sustainable. In fact, this word sustainable is not new for us. We have learned about sustainable development, sustainable consumption. Clear? Keeping those points in mind, you can focus on this particular term. And the three dimensions of food security has been clearly shown in the chart given below. Observe this chart. They may ask you this question as well. Clear? What are the three dimensions of food security? Easiest way to understand, just remember this chart. Availability of food, accessibility of food, and affordability of food. So you need to focus on these three major terms. Let us move on to the next slide, where we need to know about Food Corporation of India. Shortly, we are going to call this as FCI. Remember, FCI was established in the year 1965, and it is a premier or a nodal agency that ensures food security in India. Remember, this is a logo of FCI, and in fact, on the event of completion of 50 years, FCI has issued this logo. Observe Golden Jubilee year 2014-15. Clear? Let us move on to this FCI and discuss its objectives and role in detail. This Food Corporation of India, which was established in 1965, it has mainly three objectives. The very first, procurement of food grains from farmers at remunerative prices. When I say remunerative prices, proper prices which are sufficient and income yielding to the farmers. Second, distribution of food grains to common people, particularly to the vulnerable sections of society. See, when I say vulnerable sections of society, we are talking about the poorest of the poor who are not having clear affordability of food grains, to ensure the minimum availability or to distribute the food grains to such sections of the society, thereby to promote food security. Third, maintenance of buffer stocks of food grains to ensure food security and stability of food grain prices. See, this word buffer stock is not new for us. When we have learned the basic concepts I've told you, the term buffer stocks refers to they are the stocks maintained by FCI to even out the price fluctuations. I think you are aware of this term. It is not totally new to you. Let us move on. After knowing the objectives of FCI, we'll move on to the next slide. Here we need to know instruments of food management in India. In fact, these instruments are: one, MSP, minimum support prices; second, CIEP, that is central issue price, that is CIP. It should be CIP, central issue price. Here, the term MSP or minimum support price refers to the government fixes certain minimum prices for few selected products, that we call it as MSP, so that the farmers get remunerative prices. As far as the functions of FCI are concerned, or role of FCI in food management, when you consider, FCI acts as a nodal agency. It is a chief agency that looks after food supply, either purchase of food grains for the farmers or distribution of food grains to the people, that is, those who are vulnerable sections of the society. Growing procurement of food grains. See, FCI just acts as a merchant. Once when it purchases a product, that is food grains, it has to transport those grains from the farmlands to the warehouses. Procurement, store them properly in a scientific way. Then creation of buffer stock. Again, just now in the previous sitting I've told you, buffer stocks refers to they are the stocks maintained by FCI to even out the price fluctuations. What exactly the term mean? Let us say in the month of December, harvesting season, assume the prices of the products are too less because of more supply. But if the farmers sell those grains at that heavy supply prices, in fact, the prices will be very less and they will not get any remunerative prices. In such situations, they cannot wait till the prices go up because they don't have scientific storage. They are forced to sell their grains at a very less price. In such case, the government through FCI, it purchases food grains from the farmers and transport such purchased goods to the warehouses. Scientifically, it stores and sells them to the people, to the vulnerable sections of the society at proper remunerative prices. Thereby, it protects the interest of farmers also and even consumers also. Price support to farmers ensures food security for the people. So FCI just acts like a merchant. FCI functions, just keep it in mind. It purchases the food grains from the farmers at proper remunerative prices. Second, it transports such purchased goods from the farmlands to the warehouses. It scientifically stores those grains and sells such grains through what we have as fair price shops, government controlled what you call ration shops, through which FCI sells and thereby helps in the process of food security. Now we have a concept called PDS, public distribution system. Actually, this public distribution system in a new reduced syllabus has been taken out. Clear? You just go through, clear, out of academic interest, and this may not be there for the examination. Please keep it in mind because certain terms are required to be known. That's why I'm just giving this slide as well as next slide. Out of academic interest, you learn this part may not be there for the examination as it has been taken out. Let us try to know what is PDS. When the government of any country takes proper initiative to procure food grains from farmers at reasonable prices and distribute the same at subsidized prices to the common people through government controlled ration shops or fair price shops, that system is called PDS. Instead of saying such a big statement, you can also simplify and say, clear, public distribution system refers to selling off the basic foodstuffs such as rice, wheat, sugar, kerosene, edible oils, etc. through fair price shops. In order to get those required ration or let us say required grocery items, one should have the ration cards issued by the government, that all of us are aware. Anyway, and these grains are given to the people at a subsidized price. I think you know the meaning of the word subsidy. It is not new for us. We have learned the basic concepts. Recollect, subsidy is the difference between economic cost and issue price. Let us say if the government purchases 1 kg rice at 30 rupees, then it is issuing to the people at 1 rupee. Then the difference between these two, 29 rupees, is subsidy. Of course, subsidy is a burden on the government. The interest is here welfare. To promote the welfare of the people, the government does so. Then food subsidy has two major components. One, consumer subsidy, buffer subsidy. Let us try to understand what exactly these two are. The first one shows a difference between economic cost and issue price. That means just like how you define subsidy, same consumer subsidy. Then what is buffer subsidy? It includes carrying cost of buffer stock. When I say carrying cost, transportation and other charges. When I say other charges, it includes storage paid to the state government agencies by the FCI for food grains kept by them beyond the prescribed date. See, FCI and the government departments will have some common understanding how long they can store. Supposing if FCI keeps the food grains, stores of food grains beyond the prescribed date, then the government, FCI has to pay some amount of money to the government. That plus carrying cost, that is transportation, we call it as buffer subsidy. Let us move on to the next slide and try to understand clear some more concepts related to PDS. In fact, I was telling you about ration cards. The ration cards issued by the government, there are three types. One, Antyodaya cards. Two, BPL cards. Three, APL cards. This first one, Antyodaya cards, they are issued to the poorest of the poor. that is extremely poor, or let us call them as vulnerable sections of the society. BPL cards are issued to the people who lie below poverty line. APL cards are issued to the people who lie above poverty line. This segregation will help the government to fix the prices for the grains. Let us see objectives of PDS. First one, to control price fluctuations. The very first and foremost objective of PDS is to control price fluctuations. We can't say that prices of food grains will be the same all throughout. It keeps changing. So sometimes if the prices increase, let us say from normal price of 10 or 15 rupees to 50 or 60 rupees, no doubt that from the merchant's point of view it is good. From the consumer's point of view, it is pinching. It is very costly for them and they may not be in a situation to afford it. That's why to control the price fluctuations. Second, to maintain price stability through creation of buffer stocks. That is, government maintains the stocks to even out the price fluctuations, thereby ensures the price stability. Third, to reduce personal or regional inequality in the distribution of food grains. To control monopoly power of private traders in food grain market, and also to socialize a marketable surplus. See, when I say surplus, the extra food grains which are being available, clear, for the purpose of trade. Anyway, the PDS concept of this slide as well as the previous slide, just out of academic interest you learn, this you may not have for the examination as it has been included in the reduced syllabus. Clear? Thank you. Thank you.